Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar. There are over 300 of you registered, almost 400 of you registered today from over 80 countries. So thank you all for joining. We are so glad to have you here with us today. My name, my name is Keisha Blaser. I'm with the International Association for Impact Assessment, or IAIA. And IAIA is the leading global network on best practices for using impact assessment to make better and more informed decisions. The webinar today is being hosted by IAIA, and you'll mostly be hearing from our presenter, who you'll meet in just a moment, but I'll be facilitating today's webinar and handling any technical questions you might have on the back end. So if there's anything that you hear today in the webinar that you would like to share on social media, please do so. You can see our handle at IAIA Network, as well as a hashtag IAIA webinar that you can use to share any of those important details. Now, a few pieces of housekeeping before we get started. So first off, I would like to point you to www.iaia.org to find a variety of different resources there. So first off, there's a few different webinars on demand. You can see a couple on your screen there on considering ENS impacts related to green hydrogen and one on psychosocial impact assessment, but we have a variety of different webinars on digital IA, artificial intelligence, biodiversity, health, and more. So please do check those out. Next, I'd also like to point your attention to some of our upcoming events. So the big one that we're focusing right now on is IAIA 25, which is our annual conference that this year is being held in Bologna, Italy from the 1st through 4th of May. Now, right now we have our special early bird discount going on for just about one more week. So if you are interested in registering for the conference and you know you're planning to attend, I'd really encourage you to look at our website and potentially get registered this week to take advantage of that discount. So if you have any questions, you can contact our office at info@iaia.org. Otherwise, the website should have plenty of information there for you. Next up, we also offer a variety of different online training courses. So coming up in the month of February, we have 3 different courses and one in the first week of March that's kind of bundled in there too, on technical writing and organized reasoning, EIA follow-up, leadership, and conflict management, all in the context of EIA. So if you're interested in any of those, more information can be found at www.iaia.org. We also have our professional development program, and there are 2 courses in that program. They're each 12 weeks long. One is our Foundations of Impact Assessment course, and we also have a newer course on social impact assessment. Now, both of the registrations for the current offerings of the courses are closed. However, the courses will both run again at the beginning of June and go through the end of August, and registration will be available for those courses soon. And finally, there's like I just kind of covered a lot of more in-depth resources that you can check out, but we also have a variety of free resources like our downloadable publications. So our best practice principles are a little bit more involved, but we also offer some IA fast tips that are a bit quicker if you're looking for something like that as well. Now, just before we get started, again, a couple pieces of housekeeping. So yes, today's webinar is being recorded. Those of you that are on here live with me right now, you'll be sent to the webinar within about a day or 2 of the live recording. And if you are not joining us live, you'll also get the recording sent to your email, but it will also be hosted on our website. Next up, at the end of our webinar, we'll have a session for Q&A with our presenter for about 15 minutes, but you do not need to wait till the end to ask your question. So at any time during the presentation, if something sparks a question for you, go ahead and go to the questions tab on your control panel, and you can type your question there, and we'll flag it for the Q&A as long as we have time. And then finally, the slides for today are already available. So if you go to the Handouts tab in the control panel, you can see a PDF version of the slides in case you'd like to follow along that way. Otherwise, they will also be sent to you with the recording so you can access them there. Now, I'd like to introduce you to today's presenter, Johanna Poggi, MBA and Environmental Engineer with experience directing environmental engineering programs and as a consultant. Johanna has spent more than 20 years working on sustainability and environmental management issues and consulting for the public and private sector, as well as for non-governmental organizations. She has 17 years of experience working in the education sector as a professor, coordinator, and program director, where she is currently the Director of Environmental Engineering at Universidad San Ignacio de Loyola in Peru. So with that, Johanna, over to you.
Thank you, Keisha. Thank you for the presentation. And thank you everyone for being here in this webinar. I'm really glad for be able to share here this presentation with you. And well, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, depends on which part of the world you are. I'm really glad to present for you, for these members for IAIA. I don't know if you can see the presentation right now.
Yes, and then if you just go, perfect.
Yes. Great. So today, you can see completely because I see a screen from the, you can see it completely? Yes?
Otherwise,
Okay.
again, we do have all the slides available on the handouts tab. So if you aren't able to read a slide, you can also follow along with the PDF version there as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. So as I was saying, today we're going to review a sustainability model, two sustainability models, according to this author that his name is Blackburn. And after that, we're going to analyze two companies in Latin America, actually in Peru, according to these two models. So I really like these two models because they're quite different, and they're quite original, and they make us think in a different way about sustainability, perhaps for some of us. These sustainability models, the first one, it has a funny name, is Show Me the Money. So sometimes when we think about sustainability, we think about the environment, we think about society, we think about ethics, transparency, but money, what about that? So perhaps the name is not so good. It doesn't sound that good for some people, and it reminds me that movie Jerry Maguire. I don't know if some of you are from the 90s, but that they won the Oscar for that line, "Show me the money." But what is that? Show me the money for a sustainability model. What is that? Well, they talk about how the main goal for a business is to make money. Well, it doesn't sound that good, but actually it's kind of true, because if you want to have a business, you have to have a profit. You want to be good for the environment, you want to do good for society, you want to be perhaps a B Corp, you want to have certifications, you want to do good for society. But if you don't have a profit, but you're in trouble. So your goal is to make money, and you want to pay your payroll, you want to have a profit, you want to grow. Okay. So for that, you need reputation. You need to be competitive. You have to be productive. You need many things. So that's what we're going to discuss today. How to make money and being sustainable can be good for businesses and represent a win-win situation. For reputation, according to this model, when things are doing okay, when everything is good, the environmental and social factors represent 25, perhaps 33% of the brand reputation. When things are not good, doing that well, it could be like 90% of your reputation. That happens in my country, for example. During the pandemic, we had an incident with the Repsol company. There was an oil spill. Well, actually, there's many oil spills in my country, sadly, but that specific oil spill happened near the city, near Lima. And because of that, attract many people, many press. So when it happens, sadly, in the rainforest, far away, and pollutes communities that are far away, that don't have many resources, sadly, don't many people acknowledge that, but in this case, it did happen near the city. So many people were very involved in that incident. So when you say the name of that company today, when what you remind is the oil spill, nothing else. So, and there's a lot of rankings about reputation, and in these days they are considering these environmental and social actions. Even so, they are taking in consideration the sustainability reports when investors are putting their money into a company. When the companies are in the stock market in my country, they have to have some kind of sustainability report, because investors don't want to put their money into bad business. So reputation is important. What else? Competitive, effective, and desirable products and services. When you innovate, you can generate low impact products. And that involves also circular economy. That happens a lot in my country. When you talk about circularity, it tends to, people think about recycling, how to recycle a product, but that is only one part of circularity. It's not all of circularity, it's just the end. There's a lot of that involves circularity before recycling. That is innovation, how to, that is technology, how can we design new products that are designed to generate less impact on the environment since the design, not at the end of the chain. So we can do that. And customers are beginning to think about that. So I really like this author, Calomarde, about green marketing. He talks about how these 5 types of green consumers are in the world, about the eco-passive, for example. The eco-passives say that others will solve environmental problems. That's why we have scientists and politicians. This is not my problem. So that's why they have all these people that go to IAIA and all these people that are involved in sustainability. But it's not true. Everybody is involved, but there are still people that think that. The eco-opposite, I believe there are less and less people like that in the world, that say, what problem? No, we don't believe in climate change. We don't believe in these kind of problems. No. But there are the eco-active, the ones that act to solve a problem. They demand eco-friendly products. They demand that the companies become more responsible with toxicity, with circularity. And there are the eco-conscious. There are one that says, oh, well, I know about environmental problems, I know about climate change, I know about circularity. They're well informed, they're educated, but they do not take initiative because they think, oh, these products are too expensive. They don't sell it near my house. I don't know. I'm not going to make a difference. For example, in my country, they kind of ban plastic bags in the supermarkets. We don't use that much paper bags. We use plastic bags. And they try to ban plastic bags, but the way they did it is to charge a small amount of money for every plastic bag at the supermarket. So if you forget your own bag, and you need a bag, they're gonna charge you. So what most people think is, it's only 30 cents, and 30 cents of soles, not dollars. So one more is not gonna harm anyone, but millions of people think that in that way. So, and the ones that are skeptics, that nothing is gonna solve the problem. So there's no solution at all. And well, I don't think anyone here thinks like that, because we wouldn't be here. And there's another author that I really like, that is Othman. She has this book, the name is the New Rules of Green Marketing. And she has another types of consumers. For her, is like the ones that are green, really greens, are the LOHAs. They have this lifestyle on health and sustainability. They buy green, they buy certified products, they buy organic. They care about most about their health than the environment. That's what their studies say. They're the ones that don't care at all. They're the conventionals that they stick to a brand. Perhaps they know about the environment and sustainability, but they always buy in one brand, on one store, or one brand, so they're very traditional. And the naturalists, the ones that buy perhaps brands like Patagonia, or brands that care about nature. And the drifters, the ones that sometimes they're LOHAs, sometimes they're conventionals. They change, depends on the price, on the way where they are. Productivity is related to eco-efficiency, to use less resources, and that's related to circularity, because as I was saying, circularity is not just recycling. We have to think about the whole process, the life cycle of a product, and really know the impact of the life cycle of a product, to really know about the whole impact, and to know which one is better, in which stage we are causing more impact, to change the design, or change the way we use a product, or change, I don't know, perhaps one part, or the energy, or anything, any aspect of a product. And that is gonna cause that we are gonna spend less money on energy, on resources, on water. We're gonna be more efficient. So we're gonna be more competitive. For this model is the operational burden and interference. It says that if a company denies its impacts or hides them, can generate rejection from the public and even increase their cost. Perhaps some of you remember what happened to Volkswagen a few years ago, when they were not really that transparent about their emissions. So there was a cost in their reputation, but it also was a cost on their sales. The supply chain costs. So it's also related to circularity, because we have to think about the whole chain, and how can we be more efficient, and how can we have deals with our suppliers to spend less money, or to reduce toxicity, to be more safe with our employees, and reduce risk. So all of that, and it's gonna cause an effect on reputation also. The cost of capital. As I was saying, many financial institutions request that we have a social or environmental responsibility in our operations in order to evaluate the viability of a loan or even to invest in our company. And finally, the legal liability. It makes us be more prepared to new legislation. It makes us be more prepared if we want to be in markets that are more demanding, more if we want to export our products in markets that are more demanding about environmental issues or social issues. It's not about just saving money, but also saving time and other resources. This is the first model. The second model also has a funny name, it's quid pro quo. It reminds me this, I'm also from the 90s, this movie, Silence of the Lambs, and the famous quote, quid pro quo with Hannibal Lecter. It kind of means like, if you help me, I help you. We're gonna help each other. So it's quite different because it involves a strategy of a win-win situation between the stakeholders. So for the employees, like, for example, I have many students that are millennials or right now centennials that are looking to work for a company that not only is gonna help them to develop in their profession, that is also, they're also looking for a company that is gonna, they're looking for a transparent company, an ethical company, a company with purpose. So they're looking for that. For investors and financiers, to demonstrate transparency, ethics. So investors are looking for that because they don't want to get in trouble investing their money in a company that is not doing the right thing. For clients and suppliers, clients are looking for efficiency, for quality, but also for fair prices, for products that do not cause damage, toxicity. In countries like mine, we have still products that can cause us diseases and toxicity because they do not measure the impact in our health. Quality service, experience, competitive prices, and the suppliers are also looking for a good price, a quality radio, but also transparency and ethics in the business. And for the community and the government, respect for the rules. In a country like mine is respect for the rules, but also respect for the community and the local culture. We have so many cultures in my country, so many languages, and they're quite different from the culture in the city. The environmental aspects of sustainability, risk management, and how can we make the society participate in those processes. So I just explained a little bit those models, and I'm a teacher, so I would like to know if you got the main elements of those models. So I like to play a game. I don't know if you like Kahoot. So I'm gonna send you the link of a Kahoot in the chat. So if you wait for me just a second. It's not letting me not letting me copy and paste anything on the chat, but I'm gonna write the pin of the game on the chat. So if you go into the Kahoot, I don't know if you know Kahoot. Thank you, Keisha. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to play and see who wins. I see you're already playing, right? Great. I guess who won? Scott. I guess Scott won. So if you were in my class, I will give you a candy bar, but we are online. I'm so sorry, but congratulations, Scott. Thank you so much for participating. I'm gonna finish my presentation. I'm gonna share again. With two examples in Peru, what I think there are two examples of circularity and sustainability. That is Petramas. Petramas is a solid waste management plant. Usually in my country, for giving you the big picture, we don't have a proper way to manage waste. We only recycle less than 2% of our waste, and we produce really a lot. And most people do not have a proper way to, even they don't get pick up the trash from their homes. There's a lot of informal recyclers in my country. So Petramas is a solid waste management plan, and they apply cleaner production and circularity because they are in a district where solid waste is a really big problem, and they are in a place where it used to be an informal landfill, and they transformed the place into a proper landfill, and now they produce biogas, and they even reducing the climate change gases, the methane. They taking advantage of the methane to produce energy for the population nearby. So this is a good example in my country of what can we do. We can do so much more, but this is a really good example of what can we do with investment. And they are making money, and they are producing jobs, but they are also taking care of a really huge problem in the city. And also there's another example that is more related to the second model, that is quid pro quo, that is Simba. Simba is in Spanish a play of words, because the complete sentence is sin basura, like without trash, and they shorted like Simba. And there's a small company it's a startup, and they is a waste management company. They collect the waste from companies like hotels and restaurants and cafeterias, and they make a sustainable livestock for and feed production, sustainable livestock. They make new raw materials for the industry, and they make composting, and they apply circular economy, and they involve small recyclers, and they teach them how to recycle in a proper way, in the proper manner, so they do not pollute themselves and don't get any diseases, and they have proper jobs, formal jobs. So this is an inclusive workplace environment, and they apply circular economy, but it's also a very social startup. So they involve people that were involved in that business in an informal way. So now they have formal jobs in that area. So they take advantage of their expertise, but they also apply technical expertise into that company. So they get bigger, and they're more technical, and they can get to bigger customers. So this is a good example of quid pro quo, I believe. So they're getting bigger, and they use a lot of social media to educate the population about recycling and waste management. So I'm really glad to share this information with you. And I don't know if you have any questions, anything. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. We do have a few questions here to kind of get us started. Let's see. So you kind of mentioned briefly, the cultural context. So maybe how, in your opinion, how do cultural and or economic contexts in Latin America influence the practical implementation of sustainability or circular economy principles?
Yes, it's very complex. For example, in Peru, it's very different in the city. Actually, inside the city, is very different. I live and I work in a part of the city where everything is very organized and talking about the environmental part and the waste management. But half an hour from here, the city is very different because the administration of the city is very different. And so not just the cultures, but the governmental part is quite different. And also it's very difficult to collect taxes. So the administration gets more difficult. And the part of the education is very different. So you have to use different techniques to educate people, to make them understand how to get them involved in waste management, for example. So you can have a waste management system that in paper could be wonderful, but if you don't get involved with people, it's not going to work. And if we talk about in my country, the culture is very different in the Andes, in the rainforest. So if you go with your project, thinking about the city and thinking about the same vision, it's not going to work because they have different ways to live, different I don't know, how can I say it? Uh, different, a different vision of the world. So what we here in the city may think is correct, for them it's not going to be adequate. So it's not that they are wrong or they are not educated. It's that they have a different vision of the world. They have a different way of life. Even the language is quite different. So we have to respect different cultures. So we have to adapt our projects to the culture, to the language, to the way they live, to the weather, to everything. So if we don't involve people from the beginning, and make them part of the project from the beginning, it's not going to work.
Absolutely. Great answer. I will just mention too, as a heads up, I know we're already kind of over time, but we will go a few minutes over just to get time for a couple more questions to be answered. If you do have to take off, feel free to, any of you participants, but just know we'll stay on for a couple more minutes and answer a few more questions. So, this could be kind of tied into that. You talk about getting people involved. Maybe part of your answer could speak to that, but what are some of the emerging trends or innovations in sustainability or circular economy that you believe will have the greatest impact in the region in the coming years? People like right now, AI is a huge hot thing. Is that, something that you see being a big emerging trend that will have an impact, or are there other things that might be?
Yeah, of course. I think technology, uh, artificial intelligence, we have the upcoming Congress in Bologna, and we are going to learn a lot in a few months about that. So um, I'm saying that we have to get involved people, but we cannot um, forget about technology because we use it every day, and we have more cell phones than people, and we have more internet connections than people, I believe so. So, for example, I just read the other day that on LinkedIn that here in my country they're using blockchain to the traceability of organic products, so you can know if a product is really organic and one can, if they use, I don't know, the use of water, the use of chemicals and stuff like that. So because sometimes you really don't really know if the product is organic, and you can do that to be really sure. If you wanna go to other markets, you can use that technology. My students are using the Bloomberg Lab to make challenges about climate change and sustainability. So technology and, and artificial intelligence, we're going to use it every day. And we have to learn. It doesn't matter if you're in management, if you're an engineer, if you're in communications, we have to learn.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I think we have time for a couple more questions. Maybe just one more here, we'll see. One more just came in. They said, so in their country, which is Italy, there are some companies that achieve over 80% circularity in hazardous industrial waste regeneration, but by doing this, emissions and other environmental and social impacts are then significant. So can you maybe speak to that? So they're doing this and they're getting over 80% circularity, but then they're also having really significant environmental and social impacts.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned something at the beginning about the life cycle of a product, of a process, or even a company, because we have to really know if we are doing the correct thing, not just, I don't know, because we are applying recycling or circularity, we are reducing the impact. Because when we apply circularity, I don't know, if we reuse some part of I don't know, a cell phone, and we reinsert this part of another process, perhaps we are increasing our emissions in some other process. So we have to measure. We cannot manage something if we don't measure it. So I was watching a video the other day with my students, and an expert from Australia was saying that the main impact of a kettle is in the use, not in the design, it's in the use, because most people use the kettle, use the top of the water for just one cup. So we have to do a little bit of research and measure in which stage we are polluting more. So
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's see. A couple more just came in. I think we'll probably just have time for one more question. And then, you can still feel free to put your questions in here. These will all go to Johanna at the end. And so she can look over those too. But last question, someone asked, so you spoke about the importance of involving people and, getting them involved. And they asked, how do you do that when some of them just deny it no matter what? How do you, it can feel like pulling teeth maybe kind of to get some people involved. So how can you get them on board if they're hesitant and skeptical, as you called it?
I think we have to work in teams. I'm an environmental engineer. I have a master in business, but here at the university, I have a team. I have an expert on social issues, and I have another expert on biology, and I have another expert on solid waste, and I have another expert on conflicts. So I think we have to work in teams, because as in environmental impact studies, we as environmental experts, we cannot do everything. Perhaps we are too technical, and we need another techniques, special techniques. For example, here in my country, I know they're using psychologists in health and safety to make people really, and they're using these psychology techniques to make people understand they have to use these, we call it EPPs, these protection stuff, like the special glasses and helmets. And you could say, of course, you have to use a helmet and glasses and protection. Yes, but they're using psychology techniques. So why? Because they have to go deeper, like to convince people that, and they have techniques that we engineers do not have. So we have to be creative, innovate.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, absolutely. That's great. The importance of collaboration. Okay, unfortunately, that's about the time we have. So we're going to wrap this up here. So first off, thank you, Johanna, for the presentation. This was great. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We know your time is valuable and we really appreciate that you're sharing it, spending it here with us. So as you leave here today, a couple things, there will be a brief survey for you to fill out. So please do take your time and fill out that survey. It's very helpful for us to know how we did and how we can improve. And there's also a question on that survey that will allow you to input your suggestions for future webinar topics. And so if there's something else that you'd like to hear about that we haven't yet offered in a webinar, please put it in there and I will do whatever I can to get the experts on board and get that webinar organized for you. And as always, let's continue this discussion. So if you are an IAIA member, feel free to post something into the Hub, our online social community. Otherwise, you can also post on LinkedIn or on Twitter. You can see our handle there at IAIA Network and the hashtag IAIA webinar. So again, thank you all for joining. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you have a great day. Until next time, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.